God's gonna bless you.
Okay.
Long-awaited journey for 17-year-old Jose. At the age of 1, he suffered from shaken baby syndrome at the hands of a caretaker. Ever since, he lived in a facility, and after his family abandoned him, the state's foster care had to step in.
My intention was to be an advocate for him, medically speaking. And as we visited him more and more, we just knew that we wanted him part of our family.
Mary Zhang and her husband Patrick Sullivan just had a forever feeling.
You already know what to do. And so, you'd kind of gotten to the, he'd need somebody, and I was like, let's do it.
Jose has severe brain damage, is mostly paralyzed, both verbally and visually impaired, but through it all, he just wanted a loving family.
He's lived his entire life in a facility. How do you...
Today, the family standing in court under oath declaring Jose was an answered prayer.
We prayed about him and prayed for him.
Jose, after nearly 17 years in the foster care system, now has a family.
Yet when we look into his eyes and we rub his face, he knows that we love him.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Hope your day's going pretty good. My day's going pretty good. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a video. We are living in a world that is full of hate, and we also living in a world that is full of love too. You may have a person looking down on someone because the other person may be homeless, or they may be looking down on the next person because the next person does not drive a 2025 Cadillac Escalade or stand in the biggest house on the hill. Just like we got parents out there that look down on their children. We got some parents that will look down on their children because the child is not a football star, or a basketball star, or a track star. All of those sports out there that a parent may be looking down on their child because their child is not living up to the expectations of their parent when they come down to sports. Because we got a lot of parents out there that are trying to live their dreams through their children. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that, but sometimes it does get outrageous, especially when you see these parents out there fighting at the Little League football and baseball games over Little League baseball and football players and also basketball players. Let those children have fun. So you may have a person that is looking down on a child because of that. And we also have people out there that may be looking down on their children because their children may be a special needs child. Like in this story right here. 17-year-old Jose has finally got a family to adopt him, because that right there is a great thing to hear. Now, this young man has been in the CPS system, or the child care system, the government of Arkansas. So he has been in the system for nearly 17 years, and he has just now been adopted. We have a lot of special needs children out there that are in these CPS systems, and they do not get adopted. They wind up going to a home or wherever they may go. But this young man here has a place, and he also has a new family. Kudos go out to the couple that adopted this young man. Now, this young man at the age of 1 year old was in the hand of his caretaker. And how he wound up being mentally and also physically disabled is because of that caretaker. Now, that caretaker shook him, and that wound up giving that 1 year old child shaky baby syndrome. Now, shaky baby syndrome is when someone takes a child and shakes the child back and forth or even side to side, basically abusing the child. So the caretaker shook this young man when he was 1 year old. Now, he did not start out like this. The only reason why this young man is in the situation that he is in is because of that caretaker that he had when he was 1 year old. Now, the family took him to a facility or a hospital, a 24-hour place that was working with him and trying to get him developed and get him back into shape that he had to be. So as time went by, the family left this young man at that facility. And then the state stepped in and took over. Sad situation. Now, I do say this a lot in my stories. If you do not want your children, drop your children off at the hospital, fire station, and etc. I have said that many times in my story. But at least the family did not abandon this young man and left him inside of a home, starving to death, and left him covered in feces. And also just, this young man didn't lose his life, is what I'm saying. Because I do a lot of stories about parents leaving their children unattended inside of a filthy home, in cages, and etc. Just go back and listen to some of my stories. I encourage you all to go back and watch those stories. Watch the whole story, because a lot of people would not hear the meat and the potatoes of that story if they don't go through and watch the whole story. So I do encourage you all to watch that story. Anyway, back into this here. So Mary and Patrick Sullivan has adopted this 17-year-old young man. He did not ask to be here. Don't now child on this earth ask to be brought into this world. If you have a child, whether the child is mentally or physically disabled, take care of your child, because that's your child. That's your seed. That's your bloodline. That child belongs to you. Take care of that child, because we got a lot of parents out there that are caretakers of their children, and those children have special needs. Do not run off and abandon your child. Now, I do believe blessings and healing will come to Mark and Patrick Sullivan's home for what they did, because they didn't have to do that. They could have been just like everybody else. Man, that young man is disabled. I can't do anything with him. Blah, 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 blah. We got a lot of hateful people out there like that these days. Now, I'm not saying people are hateful because they don't want to go to the system and adopt a special needs child, because some people are not equipped for things like that, and I understand that. But if you do have a special needs child, take care of them. Whether the child has autism, whether the child has many other mental illnesses that may be going on with the child, or physical illness that may be going on with the child. Now, this young man is paralyzed, and he's verbally and individually impaired, and he cannot speak. So many things happen to this young man by being shook by his caretaker. Just think about all of the helpless children out there that are suffering from their caretakers or their parents or their loved ones. I'm talking about relatives, and also friends of loved ones. We got a lot of people out there that are abusing children each and every single day. I have said this in many of my stories. If you see something, say something. And I do encourage everybody that has a heart to do this, adopt a child if you can. Give a child a loving home, because these children go through a whole lot when they go through these foster parent systems and the CPS system. The children go through a whole lot, and they wind up being sometimes menace to society, and sometimes they wind up getting on drugs, and sometimes we also have people that grows up in the CPS system or foster homes wind up being stars, like Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx. I believe those two guys were adopted, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of people out there that are stars, that are great people that has been adopted. So adopt a child if you can. Now, the reason I'm saying adopt a child is because I have adopted a child. Now, the child that I have adopted is my little brother. He was like 10 or 11 months. He was a little bitty baby. Now, when we got my little brother at 10 or 11 months, he had a physical disability. And we was wondering, saying, hey, I wonder if he will walk. We was wondering about that. We were saying to ourselves, man, it's going to be hard. But I would rather be taking care of my little brother than my little brother out there in the system being mistreated by people that he does not even know. Now, the family that my little brother was with, they were great people. And shout out to those people if they do see this video. You know who you are. But my little brother had a spinal cord injury from when he was a little bitty baby. His mother put him in one of those slings that you put on your chest when you put the baby on the inside of it. The demonstration is right here in this picture here. He was located in one of these things right here. And the crazy thing about that is his mother put him on a motorcycle along with my dad. So my dad was the driver of the motorcycle and his mother was the rider of the motorcycle. Now just think about that. A child is strapped in a sling with two people on a motorcycle. So to make a long story short, someone seen that and reported it in. So that could not have been the only time that they may have did this. So he wound up getting a spinal cord injury, torticollis or whatever the name of that stuff is. He wound up to the point that he was curled back like a banana. So he was like a backwards banana. That's the way his body was. As time went by, we began to work with him. Try to see if he could walk and crawl and things like that. Because at first, my little brother was not crawling. He was rolling back and forth. You know, like a baby that is normal will be crawling. He was not crawling. He was rolling. And he will pick up stuff with his feet. And I was saying to myself, my little brother may grow up and be physically disabled. What in the world? But I was still there to show him love, me and my family. Time went by, my little brother started crawling. Time went by, my little brother started walking. Time went by, my little brother was just being a happy young ball of energy. And today he's 3 years old. And also to the parents out there that are foster parents or adoptive parents, step in even if you have a child in your family that you can raise. Because if you give that child a better home than what your relative may have gave them, you will be blessed. So that's why I do a lot of stories about these children, because I do have a special part in my heart when it comes down to children, because children are our future. Children are our future. Remember that. They are the ones that will be taking care of us or entertaining us. They are the future lawyers and doctors and etc. So I'm glad that this young 17-year-old young man has a home and a family, because everyone out there deserves love. Y'all leave a comment and let me know what y'all think about this story. I'll let you know your thoughts. Until I see y'all on the next video, y'all be blessed. And remember, if you see something, say something. And also, check at your schools, at the daycares, watch after your children. And also, watch after your children when it comes down to these caretakers, because we have a lot of evil caretakers out there. Y'all have a good one, and y'all have a blessed one. Holla at you.